Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Okay, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentleman Fan Film Reviews. I am Sid Bartu. Joining me today, as always, is Justin Cristelli, and joining today as a special guest with kind of a weird backstory as to why he's here is the one and only Deadpoolzilla. Hello, guys.
Hello!
Hey!
Okay, so I want to talk about this, because this is, like, so strange, and I apologize if the fan film creators are watching, but this is just weird and I want to talk about it. So I, independently, had found and chosen to eventually review this fan film, like, months ago. I'd like, seen it, I was like, okay, it looks like pretty good quality, I'll watch the whole thing later, and I'll put it in my watch later list, and yeah, I'll pick it as a fan film review when I don't have an idea, blah, 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 blah. And then last week, Manos and I were doing a review, and I'd forgotten to think of one, and so I just went to my watch later and was like, oh, Von Doom, yeah, that was a cool one, I'll talk about that next week. And then today, like the day Manos and I had set to record, Deadpoolzilla messages me and goes like, Ian, I want to talk about this Von Doom fan film with you sometime. And I was like, funny enough, we're talking about that tonight. So,
well, it's funny. It's kind of full circle because I found out from seeing a video that Manos had posted, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is really cool."
Oh yeah,
so, yeah. It was actually today I saw Manos. You posted it, and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "So it's all full circle."
Mm-hmm. Well, so that's interesting that it all came together like that. That's funny. All
Doom
right.
has foreseen it!
Yes! Anyway.
Doom has willed it!
Manos, if I ever make like a Fantastic Four motion comic with Dr. Doom in it, you are voicing Dr. Doom exactly like that.
I totally will.
Anyway, so to get to the fan film itself, yes, this is a Victor Von Doom origin story fan film set in the 60s and 70s, and it's really cool, though I'm going to put the caveat on it that, I'm not a Marvel guy, and so I know very little about Dr. Doom, so I don't know how in character this is, so I'm going to kind of leave that up to... I'll throw over to Deadpoolzilla. How on a 1 to 10 scale, how in character is Dr. Doom to you?
Very in character, and there's one scene that was like, "Yeah, Doom would do this," and we'll probably get to that in a moment. But there is like, there's so much to it, and I liked how from the get-go I was like, "Oh, it's a loose adaptation of the Ed Brubaker books of Doom, which is like Doom's like secret origin comic, which is fantastic." And yeah, I really liked how they played on that a bit, and it was a little bit of its own. I liked the after credit scene, although it was a little predictable, but I couldn't help but smile because, yeah, it's the first time and to top it off, this is the first time, like, in anything I've seen, where Dr. Doom is done right.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Doom is one of the best villains in the Marvel universe, and yet they've never adapted him well to more or less anything. Like, you even think he's kind of weak in a lot of the cartoon shows, isn't he?
He's kind of cartoonish in his the cartoon appearances. Yeah, I'm going to trailer off what Zilla said. I'm an old school Fantastic Four fan. Dr. Doom has kind of dropped because, I've liked other villains in the past. But, boy, this really kind of nailed it. As far as the character is concerned, it's embarrassingly better than the high-budgeted films that have been made with Dr. Doom over the years. Embarrassingly better, because this film looks good. It looks like they had some money, but I know it wasn't like $200 million.
It was 1,100.
Yeah, it was $1,100 probably. And
Well, I looked at the budget. I was looking through it, and the budget was exactly around $1,100, and that's all that you could use. And I was like, "You did all this for 1,100?"
yeah, it's embarrassingly better. It's so on target as far as the character. Yeah, the shit he does in this movie is that's what he would do. He does these things. He's complexly evil and he always has kind of like this forethought, and he does things for very specific reasons. Yeah, it was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I like the timey-wimey nature of it. I thought it was really, like, you think it's going to go a certain way. With the setup of him time traveling to go save his father. You think it's going to go a certain way. And then when proper Doctor Doom shows up to stop his past older self from saving his own father in order to make him the man he needs to be, that is insane.
That is
I was like,
totally what he would do, yes.
Yeah, Doom would sacrifice his own father to secure his birthright, to be the Lord of Latveria.
Yeah, that was really, really interesting. And it shows, like, that's how you open a Fantastic Four movie, man. Like, that, like, could you imagine if this was the prologue to a proper Fantastic Four film?
I know.
Holy shit, that would be amazing.
Look, if they get to seriously fold the Fantastic Four in the MCU, yeah, Kevin Feige should write the check and just say, hey, we want to take this and just like remake it, obviously, with what we're going to do, but we're going to take this script and make it our pre-credit sequence. Oh, yeah, I loved it. And I say that because like it really does feel like an MCU Doctor Doom. Mm-hmm. They even did the closing credits very similar to the Marvel standard. In closing credits, it had the post-credits sequence, which I thought ran 2 or 3 minutes too long. Because it's like 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know. It just felt longer than it needed to be. Because to be honest, like, hey, I'm Reed Richards. That's kind of it. Yeah, you're right. It does go on a little long there, and I think you could say there are a lot of like little things like that where I'm like, that's not quite as necessary as I think they thought it was. Like when you get the shot of like the dad's door closing, it says Von Doom Apothecary. I'm like, that's. I get what you're going for. I just don't think that was necessary. You get from the context of the story that he's some kind of, weird scientist-y kind of guy or something's going on with him where he's got impossible cures or whatever. You don't really need the information there. Yeah. But it's not like enough of a problem where it made me like get annoyed with it or anything. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm glad to know that this is a lot more like comic Doom because it's a really, really strong take on the character. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, how did you guys feel about like adult Doom's like voice?
Okay, that was to me one of the weaker aspects of it, and I can't tell if it's the same actor as I guess 20-year-old Doom.
It's not. It's from what I understand, it's kind of like Darth Vader in the sense that it's a guy in the suit, but it's a voice actor projecting the voice.
I think that's it's a good way to do it.
It's a good way to do it. I just didn't care for the choice the voice actor made then for the performance. Something about it just, I don't know, it didn't connect for me as much as the younger actor's performance did.
I don't know. I like the voice, frankly. I thought he had that
tone
presence.
Sounds Doomish.
Yeah, the presence really did it for me. So I don't know. I liked it.
Okay.
I will admit that it was a little. It took me a little while to like it because when he first showed up, I was like, man, I am not liking. Because I am glad that they give him an accent because of like, yeah, obviously he's from a third.
Yeah, he's from a fake Russian country.
Yeah,
I think Baltic's the word.
So I'm glad that they gave him an accent, and at first I was like, that sounds really hard. But when he was like yelling in the Baron's face, I was like, yeah, this I can roll with this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, maybe that's something about it just didn't connect for me, but I don't know. To each their own. The thing for me about Doom, though, maybe it's like a combination of the voice and the costume about Doom that, like, again, I don't want to give the impression that it's like bad or anything, but I do feel it's one of the weaker elements is Doom's costume. It looks pretty cool from a distance, and then you start getting the close-ups, and you start to see some of the seams, as it were. Like, it just starts to look like a pretty decent cosplay, but not something that's like film ready, if that makes sense, in that little murky area. Like, if this were on stage, it'd be fine, but, you know, when you get the close-ups on film, it just starts to break down a little bit, and you can tell, yeah, that's not actually a suit of armor kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think the helmet was good, but the one thing that bothered me about the costume were the little sigils that held the cloak. That was like, that's a little cosplay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought the costume for the most part looked good, except for that. I think that was kind of that showed the budget more than anything else in the film, because the film looks a lot more expensive than what you just told me.
Yeah, I'd agree. The effects work, the CG effects are, you know, it's nothing super impressive, but they use it well. It's a lot of just, you know, energy, glowy stuff, and as someone who likes glowy things, it's insanely easy to do glowy things on film with VFX and have it work, and, you know, it just does. It's minimalist. It's not minimalist. It's effectively used is the thing.
Yeah.
It's not hard, but it's easy to use too much or to just use wrong, and they really know what they're doing. They're using it effectively. I like that there's, like, gadgets in this that you don't know, like, they don't bother to explain, they just show you them working, like the little magnet that pulls the guns away. That's really cool. And then when Doom shows up proper and he's just, like, blocking things, it's a cool display of his powers, because I know Doctor Doom is, like, kind of that middle ground between magic and science. So it's a cool display of his powers, because it kind of sometimes looks like Doctor Strange stuff, but also it kind of looks like ray shields. It's got that, like, it's just, you know, he's blocking stuff, but we don't really know exactly how he's doing it. It's just cool to visualize. So I was pretty happy with the overall production value on this. But yeah, I think Doom proper he's the best part about the story. I think he's the worst part about the production values, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
I would concede he seems like he seems to be telling the budget a little bit, but from the budget, especially, I didn't know how I didn't know how low of the budget. Now I know how low the budget was. I'm actually kind of impressed with the look of it, now that you mention it. But God, when he shows up and starts doing what he's doing, it's just fantastic. I watched this with my wife, who is never, ever, ever mentioned to me anything about Doom or Fantastic Four and stuff like that, and that's not really her wheelhouse, and she really liked it. She was pretty impressed by that.
Yeah, it's a good one. How do you guys feel about the title? Just that it's just called Von Doom. Do you think that works, or do you wish it had like a more?
I kind of like that it's just called Von Doom, because this is, like, at its core, it's about Doom's family.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it does distinguish it a little bit from, like, I don't know, like Doom video game stuff, in case there's any fan films out there, or maybe anybody else doing a Doctor Doom fan film. I'm sure they just called it Doom something something something.
Yeah.
Von Doom has a nice kind of distinct feel to it.
For me, the thing that kind of gives me a little trepidation about it is you don't actually know, you know, like, you know that going into it that it's Victor Von Doom fan film because the title tells you. You don't know it's a Von Doom fan film until Doctor Doom shows up. You know, that's the thing. Like, if you just were to watch it without the context of, like, the title of the video or anything like that, you wouldn't necessarily know who this is about until Doctor Doom shows up. And so, I don't know, if they had titled this... It's a double-edged sword, because I would like them to title it something different, something maybe that's got something to do with the time travel aspect, or something to do with, changing the past. That I think that would work better to service the story and the way it's presented. It probably wouldn't have gained the traction it did. I know we are not the only people who have talked about this and featured it on different... I saw other websites featuring this fan film. It's got like almost 60K views, which is pretty good for a fan film. That's not Batman or Star Wars. So like it's got a lot of attention, which is great for it. But I can't help but feel like it's that double-edged sword, like marketing or story. Which one do you go for? And I feel like the Von Doom title was more of a marketing decision, but I feel like there's a title here that could fit the story a bit better.
Honestly, the title doesn't bother me because, like, I figured it out. Like, you could just say Von Doom without even saying it's a Doctor Doom unofficial fan film, and I'd be like, oh, Von Doom, Doctor Doom, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy connection for a comic fan. And if you're not a comic fan, well, that's interesting name, Von Doom. What's that? Click.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Well, what else? What else can we talk about with this?
I would like to say that I'm surprised this is about Doom's father. While yes, he did care for his father, Doom's always been interconnected with his mother, and when he showed that kind of like magic stone or however he did it, like whatever it was, and again they keep it up in the air of is it magic or is it science? Because they do bring up that. Yeah, but like, and I'm glad they also mentioned that. Yeah, Doom's mother she was essentially a sorceress, and I was thinking that they were going to make like a loose adaptation of Triumph and Tragedy, which was a Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom story where they try to go get Doom's mother from hell.
Okay, that would have been ambitious.
I'm glad
that was
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it would have been totally ambitious. I'm glad they stayed low, but I was thinking it was going to be more about Doom trying to find his mother than try to avenge his father. I was like, oh, I get it now. I'm cool with this. And again, it made so much sense to me that while Doom would have wanted vengeance, at the same time he's like, yeah, his ego would want it. He would willingly sacrifice his father for his ego.
Yeah, because look, I've turned out to be an awesome guy because my father has died. I'm going to make sure that keeps happening.
Well, let me ask you this, guys, since you guys know the character more than I do. Do you think he could make the same choice if it were his mother's life?
Oh.
Yeah. That would be dicier. Maybe that's why the focus was on his father, because he could sacrifice his father easier than he would his mother.
Yeah, and he was like, I already know I'm going to get revenge on you at some point, and watching my father die is just making it all the more sweeter for when I kill you.
Mm-hmm.
That was something I was intrigued by, because we don't see him kill the Baron after the Baron kills his father. I was really surprised that they didn't do anything with that, like, because he has that line, like, if you do not kill him, I will kill him, and then you. And I expected kind of like an almost Arnold Schwarzenegger level, remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied. I was always expecting something like that, like, he kills his father, and it's like, remember what I said, if you didn't kill him, I'd kill you? Yes. I am still going to kill you.
Well, I guess Doom is more honorable than Schwarzenegger's hero in Commando.
Well,
but no,
sorry, Manos.
No, you were going.
Basically, I think Doom wanted to, because he knew he had, even if he killed the Baron right then and there, that still would have fucked the timeline.
Oh, is that what it comes down to?
Yeah, because, I mean, look, he's killing his father to make sure he's turning out who he is. He wouldn't, screw up maybe the the way the government kind of works up until he gets his chance. Because if he killed him early, then somebody else might come and complicate things. Or he might not have become who he was. So Oh, that was more like a threat. Look, someone comes up to you with super technology
And says, kill this man, you do it.
Yeah, you're gonna kill him anyway. And now you're like double secret, super threatened by this guy. Like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. All right, I'll kill the guy. See, he's dead. Are we cool?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so I quite liked the way that whole choice panned out and everything. What'd you guys think of Doom's monologue? Did it seem a little forced that he had to work the word Doom in there as opposed to Fate?
No, that's
or
pretty
did it
much
work?
him.
Yeah?
That's Doom 101. I always have to work a version of my name into every sentence.
If anything, that was subtle for Doom.
He would go
Did you notice I said Doom in there? That's pretty clever, right?
Yeah,
Normally, Doom would be like... Oh, sorry, Manos.
Yeah, Doom really loves the fuck out of himself, so of course he would do that. Yes, that's how he talks.
Okay, all right.
Yes, some would call it Destiny, but I call it Doom because I am Dr. Doom. You get it? Doom before you are doomed.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, he loves to play on his own name. I mean, I met somebody.
I would do if I had a name like Von Doom.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, his whole gig would be fucked up if his name was Smallwood.
Oh, yeah, he would never be a world leader if his name was Smallwood. Damn.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am changing that name.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. We talked about the end credits scene a little bit, but I wanted to get back to it. It really doesn't add or subtract anything, but I just really, really like that they cut it before he says what his name is. Yeah. Something about that choice just really worked. I have my suspicions that the actor did the take, the script may have even called for him to say his name, and then it cuts, but I have my suspicions just from the way of how crisp it is that was an editing choice purely, that it was just decided to cut it even though they probably had footage of the actor saying the name.
I think it went right into character because even as a teenager, even in college, Doom was full of himself and still angry. And that scene where Reed says, "Hey, I'm Reed Richards," and puts his hand out, and he's not even like saying who he is and like being kind of cold to him. Yeah, that's kind of Doom. They were friends in a way where they were kind of frenemies. They respected each other because those two guys were like the sharpest, smartest kids on the campus at the time, and they were super geniuses, and they really liked and respected each other and hated each other because they were both pricks as people. Like one obviously better than the other. So yeah, I don't know, that little moment I thought was, I think, very well crafted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It works really, really well. Just the way like Victor's so defeated and he doesn't even have any idea of like what attacked him, what did that to him. Because Doctor Doom's very intentional not to give away that it's you from the future or anything like that. Yep. Which is it's a really cool play because you as the audience know it, but the character doesn't. So it's just this really cool way to work it all together. And then when he draws it out, and I'm having a hard time telling, you guys know the artist better than I do. Is that like an original image of Doom that was made for this, or is that something that was like a pull from a famous comic of Doom? The sketch that he makes.
That looked like an original sketch because it looked a lot like the costume that's in this film.
Okay.
That's my first hunch.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
it looked really. It was really well designed, and it had a little bit of that Kirbyism with a lot of the sharp angles. So I wasn't sure if it was maybe like an original Jack Kirby, Victor Von Doom, or something.
I know that
like
wasn't obviously Kirby's drawing.
Well, I mean, obviously not the original, but like a copy of it or something made for the film or something like that is what I meant.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know. Kirby has this very specific style, and that definitely was more of a modern sketch.
Okay.
If anything, it's kind of close to like Mike Diodato.
Okay. So that really worked for me on a lot of ways. I also really liked the actor that they had for Reed. I thought he just oozes that like super nerd that gets giddy about science kind of thing, and Victor's just like, you could tell Victor's just annoyed by him, and yet like is immediately intrigued. And that's really, really cool. Those two actors have a lot of great chemistry, and I would kill for a sequel of them being competitors in college.
Correct.
That could be great. Those guys have such great chemistry together. You throw Ben Grimm in there, oh my god! You get a Ben Grimm that's half as good as either of them, and you have got a great fan film. You don't even need superpowers or anything like that. Just. Yeah.
You wouldn't even need Sue or Johnny. You would just need those three in college.
Yeah, well,
I agree.
Sue and Johnny always came a little bit later. They're like, I don't know, like always kind of been portrayed as like 10 years, like the next generation younger than those guys. Yeah. Okay. And usually traditionally, although lately in some adaptations they've been the same age and shit like that, like in Fantastic Four stick. But yeah, that's one of the things that's been so intriguing about the Fantastic Four is the Reed Doom relationship, and with Ben as well. And they're, even if you like had nothing to do, even if you never touched the Fantastic Four stuff and the superhero stuff, that relationship is really intriguing. That's one of the things that I like so much about some of the old Stan and Jack stuff, where they really,
I mean, it's just such a good trope.
Yeah, they created such really interesting character dynamics.
Yeah, it's just such a good trope, the like friends who become enemies thing, and like, even when it's done poorly, it's still kind of interesting, like in Smallville.
Yeah.
Like, even when you do it wrong, you're still kind of like into it because you just know that it's fated to fail. That's always such a great trope that it works so well and creates such naturally engaging drama, I feel.
Yeah.
It's naturally engaging is, I think, the best way to put it. So seriously, just a 2-minute scene with them together in the same room, and they capture so much of that better than any of the movies.
Yes.
Again, like, Manos, you hit it nail on the head at the beginning. Embarrassingly better.
Yeah.
Ridiculously so. Did you guys have a favorite shot or effect in this? Like, because this is a really well shot fan film too. I feel it'd be remiss not to talk about that some more.
I would say my favorite scene is when like teenage Doom is looking into his father's eyes and he's like, "I'm sorry, I failed you again." And his father, you can clearly see on his face, he's putting it together even before he calls him father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm talking more about just the visual, not videography, cinematography. I'm talking about like those, because there's a lot of really good blocking and imagery here. Like, and there's other stuff that like I hadn't even gotten around to mentioning yet. Like the set dressing, So on Geeky Gentlemen, we do History Month every November, and I would love to do fan films during History Month, but unfortunately, period pieces are really fucking hard to do on fan film level budgets.
Yeah.
This is set in the 60s and in like a third world country, and the fucking house they're shooting the Baron's wife scenes in. Damn.
Yeah.
They nailed that shit. It looks great. There's just a lot of like really, really strong attention to detail. The costuming's great. It looks like, I don't know if that's ever really been a thing, but it looks like what I, as an American in the modern day, imagine what Europeans and fucking whatever countries were wearing back in the 60s and 50s and whatnot. it just looks really, really good. Props to the what is that? A Kruger, the handgun that the Baron uses. It's great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a Walter PK.
Oh, okay, Walter. That's what I was thinking. I don't know.
Yeah,
why
they're
I got
prop
Kruger.
people. Yeah, they're prop people. Whoever was finding these locations, I think, was really on their job.
Yeah, I mean it's the most basic thing. Like so many fan films. Oh, there's some woods next to us. Let's go do it. But it does it so effectively. The choice to put it in fall, I don't know if that was just like an intentional choice or if it just worked out that way. But it works really well because I was looking for images to use for the thumbnail, and I found some pictures on their Facebook. The tackling and stuff that 20's Victor does, it's, you know, they actually did real tackles and had mattresses for the actors to land on. And, you know, seeing that it's a forest in fall, I can't help but feel like they probably covered up those mattresses with some leaves, and it's a really strong choice. It's just, it's that working in your budget thing that so many fan films just, those simple choices, like let's wait to film till fall, if that was a decision made, is super effective.
I would agree with that. Oh, sorry, Manos.
No, you go.
I feel like I'm stealing your thunder every time. I feel bad.
No, you're not on this show every week. I want to hear you talk.
I would say that I would agree that maybe I would love to see if that was a purposeful choice of to have it on in fall, because just kind of like all the grayness to it, it really does put. I don't know if this was shot in Europe or in America, but it does give you that feel right away from not even before you see like the costumes or the weapons the people are carrying. Is like, oh yeah, this feels like right away like 60s, like third world country Europe.
Yeah, and again, like it's a period piece. And it's just, they're shooting it in the woods, which is a great way to do a period piece. Lots of Game of Thrones fan films shoot stuff in the woods. It's great. It's great decision.
And you know what? I think a lot of people would think shooting in the woods would just be interesting. I mean, just easy, just go and just shoot in the woods. I have seen so many cheap films shoot in the woods, and it looks terrible.
Oh, yeah, because it fucks your lighting completely if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it looks like somebody went into their backyard and, you know, with the camera and just shot some shit, and it's really cheap looking. These shots looked expensive. These shots look like somebody took their time and set them up.
And there's aerial shots. And this is the thing I always wonder about, because it's so hard to tell nowadays. I don't know if that's stock footage or if they got a drone. Either way, it's very effectively integrated. And
I can't tell, and I think that's a good sign. I was just thinking just a moment ago, where you guys were talking about some of the shots and like using the mattresses and stuff like that. Roger Corman was talking about when like Star Wars and Jaws had become really big major hits. He had talked about how the films that he did were now becoming mainstream, and it was more difficult for his type of filmmaking to compete because B movies were now A movies, and there was a certain new expectation of those types of films. So in a way, there was kind of like a transition. You know, there's a type of filmmaking that has kind of been lost, where you had a smaller budget to make a science fiction film, and you had to kind of be clever and do what you can. Now a lot of science fiction films have fairly gargantuan budgets, and
even when they're failures, like Jupiter.
Yeah, like
was that Jupiter Ascending?
Yeah, Jupiter Ascending. Yeah, like that film. And what I've been seeing over the last few months since you asked me to co-host the fan film series is with you, is I'm watching people make these types of movies on a shoestring budget and have to be clever and have to really think about each shot and how to make it look right and make it look as good enough to compete with the mainstream films on like shoestring budgets. And that's been actually kind of exciting for someone who likes cult movies, like, you know, from the, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s. It's really cool to see kind of that type of filmmaking here.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's really, really impressive stuff that people can do. And, you know, it's that type of creativity born out of having to work in less than ideal circumstances. it's that creativity of overcoming.
Correct.
And that's always really impressive stuff.
And this film looks gorgeous, and whatever kind of like praise or reward these guys are getting, I think they deserve it. This is a really good movie.
Yeah. All right, we want to go ahead and go on to ratings then?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and...
decrees a rating.
Yes. God, Manos, can you please say that?
Yes! Doom decrees a rating!
Okay. I will go ahead and give this 4 out of 5 apothecary vials of life-saving elixir that just barely don't work. The reason I'm taking off a point is a little bit for the costume and voice acting on Doom, which I thought was a little on the weakest side of this, but also just because I'm not a huge Doom guy, so I did really like this, but it's not like if you'd done this with, I don't know, fucking Zatanna or something, I'd be all over it, but it's just, since it's Doom, it's not my character, I'd take a little bit off just for a personal preference thing.
I really want to see these guys tackle a Lex Luthor fan film. Yeah. Sorry, so I guess Manos, right?
Oh,
Or since you took the floor, you could just go ahead and naturally transition to your rating.
Oh yeah, I assumed you were just going to do your rating.
Oh, sorry. I was like, oh wait, I said that out loud. Shit, I should have let Manos go. But no, I'm also going to give it a 4 out of 5. Metal looking Doom helmets.
Doom decrees this film is excellent, worthy of Doom. Doom decrees this film 5 out of 5 Doom bots.
Nice. Alrighty then. Manos, what will we be talking about next time?
Oh, hey, I thought I'd change the pace a little bit and have fun with Float, a 2017 short horror film, a It fan film.
Okay, cool. Sounds
Because
good.
we all float.
Yeah. Alright, sounds good. Everyone, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the realist.
And I am the Don Juan of Comic-Con.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen. And we will be decreeing things!
Yes!